The fragile truce, now fractured, leaves Gaza teetering on the precipice of renewed conflict. As Ramadan's crescent emerges, so does the spectre of escalated violence across the occupied West Bank. Israel's proposed tightening grip revealed in recent plans clashes with the UN's desperate pleas for humanitarian access. With ceasefire talks stalled and reconstruction efforts amidst ruins, the question looms: will this holy month ignite a conflagration or offer a fleeting chance of peace amidst the escalating tensions? I'm Henny Saif, and this is Think Tank.
Our world is becoming unhinged.
The Herald has reported that amidst a fragile Gaza ceasefire, the West Bank witnesses a sharp deterioration. Israel's Operation Iron Wall has triggered a massive displacement, forcing 40,000 Palestinians from their homes, the largest such event since 1967. New checkpoints and steel gates strangle movement, crippling livelihoods and access to essential services. Aid workers on the ground paint a grim picture: destroyed offices, makeshift shelters, and a population grappling with severe shortages. Ramadan's arrival brings a focus on providing food and essential support, yet fears escalate for further violence in southern areas like Bethlehem and Hebron. While ceasefire talks in Cairo attempt to broker a lasting peace, including hostage release and Israeli withdrawal, breaches and stalled progress fuel uncertainty. The resilience of Palestinians shines through even as they face unimaginable loss and an ever-present threat of renewed conflict. The Guardian has reported that Israel's proposed Gaza plan reveals a strategy of intensified military control, not withdrawal. The humanitarian hub scheme managed by Qnews aims to regulate aid distribution through vetted recipients and Israeli-controlled logistics, effectively shutting down the Rafah crossing and limiting UNRWA's operations. This plan signals a tightening grip, not a relinquishing of power. The re-emergence of the humanitarian bubbles concept, previously abandoned, raises concern about Israel's long-term intentions. With aid flowing solely through Israeli-controlled crossings and NGOs facing stringent registration and vetting, the plan undermines Palestinian autonomy and humanitarian access. The plan is presented as a done deal, claiming U.S. backing, while Arab states push for a $53 billion reconstruction plan. Critics view the Israeli proposal as a deliberate attempt to sabotage Arab-led reconstruction efforts. The stringent control over aid, the exclusion of UNRWA, and the potential for private security involvement paint a picture of a Gaza under near total Israeli dominion, effectively controlling the ABCs of Palestinian lives. According to the UN News, the UN Secretary-General is heading to Cairo for an Arab League summit focused on Gaza's reconstruction, emphasizing the urgent need for a unified Arab position to guide a region towards stability. He stresses the critical importance of extending the current ceasefire and hostage release deal, urging both parties to fully implement their commitments to prevent a catastrophic breakdown. Beyond the immediate crisis, the UN chief calls for a long-term political framework grounded in international law. Part of a sovereign Palestinian state with a unified Palestinian administration emerging from clear transitional arrangements. He also voiced his deep concern about the escalating violence in the West Bank, demanding an end to settlement expansions and settler attacks. Guterres reiterated that a two-state solution with Jerusalem as the shared capital is the only path to lasting peace, advocating for the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and security. And to provide more analysis on the most recent updates concerning the severe situation in Gaza and the West Bank, we're joined from occupied Jerusalem by Dr. Munira Nasiba, the international humanitarian law professor, and Ms. Ratiba Nacha, member of the Palestinian National Action Committee. Thank you very much and welcome to Think Tank. Dr. Nasiba, now, what are the legal implications of Israel's demand for NGO registration and staff vetting within its borders for organizations operating in the occupied territories?
Well, Israel does not have sovereignty over the occupied Palestinian territory, and therefore it should not be able to change the way in which whether non-governmental NGOs or other aid organizations, obviously like the United Nations, the UNRWA itself, Israel should not be able to control the work of these organizations within the occupied Palestinian territory. So all of this intervention that Israel is introducing currently, and the prevention of aid, the restriction of non-governmental organizations from working, is counter to international law.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Nacha, how does the Palestinian National Action Committee perceive the implications of Israel's humanitarian hub plan on the Palestinian sovereignty?
Actually, what it's on reality that Israel control everything in West Bank and Gaza. We are under occupation, and Israel have the authority to allow or not allow for humanitarian aids to enter to the Palestinian territory, and that's the facts. But these facts on earth, since 8 decades till now, didn't mean that we didn't find our ways as Palestinian to survive in these kind of procedures against the Palestinian people, and using all means of living to shrink the spaces for the Palestinian and control them. Till now, I think that maybe Israel is occupying Palestine since 8 decades, but they didn't control the Palestinian people. We have our ways of maybe supporting each other. Still, it's very weak since Israel is controlling everything, as I said. But I think that the international community must take more and more actions against these Israeli action against the Palestinian people. Maybe this time, maybe they will take maybe more actions against that. I don't know what we can do in this escalation of attacking on the West Bank and Gaza, and limiting all the ways of supporting, including the UNRWA for the Palestinian people, as Palestinian people under occupation. What means do we have for supporting ourselves and survive under this kind of policies?
Mm-hmm. Dr. Nasiba, now with the rise in the West Bank displacement, what are the legal mechanisms for that can enforce the protection for Palestinians facing the forced removal?
This is the big question, actually. I mean, on the one hand, we know very well the illegality of these displacements. According to international law, displacing one civilian from his or her home is a war crime. And if this becomes widespread or systematic, it turns into a crime against humanity. However, we can see that that international law generally is not being implemented and enforced equally in this world. Israel has been not only displacing Palestinians, but actually committing a genocide. And despite that, it has enjoyed impunity Of course, this is not absolute. As we know, there are several cases, legal cases in international courts. We have South Africa versus Israel, genocide case. We have Nicaragua versus Germany, which I think is a very, very important case as well, that claims that Germany supported Israel during the time of genocide and war crimes. Which also looks at third-party responsibility during such crimes. And there is the International Criminal Court that has already accused Netanyahu and Gallant of a number of war crimes. And I believe that the more it continues investigating war crimes and crimes against humanity, the more it's going to also present cases and arrest warrants against other Israeli officials who are involved in these crimes. However, as long as Israel is receiving support from the most powerful countries and most importantly the United States, which unconditionally supports the Israeli genocide and war crimes and crimes against humanity. We saw that even the very few restrictions that the former President Biden had decided regarding some weaponry export to Israel, Trump has lifted these restrictions and has decided to send, these 1 ton or 2,000 pounds bombs to Israel. Hence, this is, a situation where we can see that the support to Israel, the unlimited support to Israel, is going to cause more crimes, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. And the only solution for this is more state intervention from other countries that believe in international law, believe in human rights. And we could see the Hague initiative recently that is part of the representation of supporting international law for not only for Palestine, but for humanity and, for all humanity.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Nacha, now, you've mentioned that there is little to do regarding a local governance and community resilience against the Israeli-imposed humanitarian hub plan. So, also, how can a unified Arab position then translate into tangible support for the Palestinians amidst the current crisis? Dr. Nasiba mentioned the role of the international community. So can a unified Arab position?
Of course, it can make a difference, especially if they have like a supporting a decision to end the occupation, as the United Nations mentioned in its decision by the end of September. Maybe they must put like an action plan against the Israeli occupation action, and maybe we have a lot of expectation from this Arab committee next week and or 3 days after 3 days that will be held in Cairo. Maybe they will have a plan for the Palestinian and the Palestinian case and the implementation of the United Nations the United Nations decision for the Palestinian case. I'm not sure what they can do a lot, but in this stage, this position of rejecting ending the Palestinian case in a regional solution and transferring the Palestinian will be good position, but I still expect more action plans against the Israeli occupation action against the Palestinian, maybe by threatening the interest of Israel in the Middle East, for example. I think it's a lot, but still, this is what we hope as Palestinian from the Arab countries, to take an action, not just to have like a declaration that says that we believe in the two-state solution or the right of the Palestinian to have their an independent state, or we are against transferring the Palestinian. It's not enough. It's good, but it's not enough.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Nasiba, how do the proposers' really plans impact the established legal framework for the occupied territories, specifically regarding the aid access and the civilian protection?
You mean the Israeli proposal?
Yes.
Well, the Israeli proposal is contrary to international law altogether for several reasons. On the one hand, the International Court of Justice, in its recent advisory opinion, has has ordered Israel to withdraw as soon as possible from the occupied Palestinian territory. It has declared the Israeli occupation of the occupied Palestinian territory illegal, and that it has to be terminated as soon as possible. Israel is prolonging its occupation, and not only prolonging its occupation, but also making its access and control of the humanitarian aid that will be delivered to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, in a place that has been totally destroyed by Israel over the past year and a half, that it wants to make it as maybe a reward to certain people, as a punishment to other people, as a way to control the population and make sure that they do not live in areas that it wants to totally cleanse from Palestinians. I think this is very dangerous, and I do not think that this type of plan is applicable. At the end of the day, the Israeli occupation has to end. If it wants to negotiate anything, it has to negotiate when it's going to leave, how it's going to leave, etc., but not the prolonging of the control and the occupation and the apartheid that it has been committing for the past decades, not only a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Nacha, do you feel that, considering the ceasefire stalled talks, now what legal avenues exist to ensure the accountability for the breaches of international law during this conflict?
Actually, to be honest, we lose this interest in what the international law could be, or the international community can done for the Palestinian, because since years we hear about a lot of decisions, but no actions is taken against what is happening in Palestine. We have a lot of I don't know. There's no international will to end what is happening here in Palestine. Israel have the authority to do whatever it wants against the international law. No one is taking any action against that, and I don't think that in the near future the world will change suddenly and stand by the Palestinians and the Palestinian rights. So talking about the international community now, if it's about feeling, it's not about a legal talk, it's about feeling. As Palestinian, I don't feel that the international community will take any action against what is happening in Palestine now. There's no will to end the occupation. This decision for ending the occupation is like one of hundreds of decisions that is taken against Israel, but no action really done actually. So as Palestinian, we have two things to live in: believing in our rights and hoping that the future will be better. Till then, we are struggling struggling against the occupation and for our liberty, and that's all what we have. We hope that the Arab countries will support us as much as possible, and more countries will stand inside of the Palestinian rights. But till now, I don't think that the international community is willing or have the will to do anything in what is happening here in Palestine. And all of these escalations of attacking the civilians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, all these means of war crimes that it's happening in Palestine, and all of these means of being against the international law and all the human rights that we witness and saw in the Palestinian territory. No one is willing to do anything, and I think that it will be like this for the near future. We don't put a lot of hope on the international community, but we believe in ourselves as Palestinian, in our struggle, in our beliefs, in our rights as Palestinian. And I think if we are talking about feeling, this is what we feel as Palestinian, that we must support ourselves and struggle more and more till we got our liberty.
Dr. Nasiba, what strategies can be employed to ensure the continuation of aid and reconstruction efforts in Gaza despite the Israeli control and potential ceasefire breakdowns?
Well, I cannot imagine a situation in which the humanitarian aid will continue while the Israelis continue to control the Gaza Strip. Maybe this was possible before, but since this genocide has started, and since Israel declared that it's going to use food and water and medicine and all types of humanitarian aid as a weapon of war, as a way to displace Palestinians from their homes, the only thing we can learn from that is that as long as Israel is controlling the Gaza Strip and controlling the borders of the Gaza Strip with other countries, the Gaza Strip is not going to be able to survive anymore. We've seen that. We could see how, despite the agreement to stop fighting and to get humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, and despite the exchange of prisoners that has taken place, we saw that Israel continued to prevent a lot of the items that it had agreed to allow to enter to the Gaza Strip, including the bulldozers that are going to remove the rubble from its place, or help construct new small structures for people to live in, including a lot of other equipment, including these caravans that can be used as temporary living spaces for Palestinians. All of that has been prevented, and much more, actually. But what this means is that if Israel continues to control the Gaza Strip and the borders of the Gaza Strip, the genocide will continue. And this is not a situation that can happen. Any agreement should certainly include the withdrawal of Israel from the boundaries of the Gaza Strip, as well as the inside of the Gaza Strip.
Yes. Dr. Munir Nasiba, the international humanitarian law professor, and Ms. Ratiba El-Nacha, member of the Palestinian National Action Committee, thank you very much for joining us here on Think Tank. As Ramadan's light flickers amidst the conflict, the world watches. Will this holy month bring resolution, or does the region's enduring crisis remain unsolved? Fortunately, that's all the time we have for this episode of Think Tank. I'm Henny Safe. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates here on Q News.